Hey folks, this is Matt. I'm gonna play a little bit of Democracy 3 for you. This is a fascinating game that lets you play around with a lot of politics, and it's really, really in-depth in a lot of areas. So let's just go ahead and get going. So I'm gonna start a new game, and I'm gonna play the U.S. You know, stick to what I know. The U.S. is starting out as very kind of messed up. You know, if you're familiar at all with U.S. politics, everyone is deeply divided on everything. Every major issue has, everyone that arguing about everything. It's just crazy. Also start off with quite a bit of debt. This screen doesn't show any of that. It does show some of the other things like, population size, size of the country, life expectancy, poverty levels, ethnicity, predominant religion, obesity rates, things like that. I don't know what the Big Mac index is supposed to be. I guess that's the average price of a Big Mac. And we eat a lot of beef. I know I contribute greatly to that. So, anyway, let's get going. So we can pick our parties. I really wish you could write in what you wanted, because I would totally call them either Thing 1 and Thing 2, or Tweedledee and Tweedledum. So, my personal politics are going to come up a lot just because that's the nature of this game. It's impossible to play this game and not have your own personal politics come into it. I would say I'm kind of a moderate conservative, kind of, to the right of center a little bit. Not so far right as, Tea Party. But, I'm in general, I'm going to try to refrain from comparing to different parties and things like that, but it's inevitably going to come up. So, my party, none of these I feel really fit me well. So I'm just going to go with the Conservatives. And the opposition party will be the Liberal Party. Sure, why not? So the defaults are set to normal U.S. defaults, 4-year term limit, or 4-year term years, and then 2-term limit. There's possibility of natural disasters. We don't have a monarchy. We don't have compulsory voting. I'm going to crank the difficulty down. Every time I've tried it on 100%, I've gotten assassinated. So we're going to put it to 50 and see how that goes. Everything else I'm going to leave where it is. So let's go. Okay, so yeah, we have our initial, welcome to the presidency. I am now the president of the United States. I am the most powerful man in the... Oh, no, never mind. So you can see our starting stats. GDP is kind of low. Health is kind of low. Education is pretty good. Not as good as it could be, but, it's, compared to these, it's good. Crime is very high. Poverty is higher than it should be. Unemployment is very high. So this is the game. If you've never seen this game before, it can be very disorienting at first. So basically you have all these bubbles that represent every issue or particular set of voters or particular events that can happen. So like, for instance, down here, this is all your different kind of taxes. If you hover over a bubble, so like this is tobacco tax, it'll show, so red lines mean it's having a negative impact on. So, you know, it's red line going up to tobacco usage means it's cutting down on tobacco usage because inherently if there's a tax, people are not going to want to pay it. Green lines mean it is contributing to, so it's contributing to poverty, and it's having a negative effect on equality. So basically everything in this game you can look at and see, what's this? This is a car tax, so you can see, you know, it affects a multitude of things. In the middle, you've got all your different voter groups. Yeah, there's a lot of different things, and each individual voter, I can't remember, how do I get polling? Is this polling? Nope, that's cabinet. Opinion polls. So you can get, yeah, focus group. Each of these people is a random person created by the game, and they're a mixture of a variety of different voter groups. Because, you know, any one person is not, you know, you might say you're quote-unquote conservative, but that doesn't mean that's all you are. You're going to be a number of different things. So yeah, you've got all the different ones. You can hover over these as well and see what's affecting them. So, you know, self-employed. We've got small business grants that are helping them, but they don't like the capital gains tax or sales tax or corporation tax. On the flip side, liberals are not happy because lots of things. So yeah, some of the stuff, like, you know, this only affects and gets affected by a couple of things, but then you look at something like GDP, and this has tons of lines going everywhere. So, yeah. So basically what you're going to do on a turn is, you know, you may want to look at the red bubbles represent things that you're having an issue with. So like pollution is high. What is this? A skills shortage. Uncompetitive economy, you know, things like this. This is hard to fix because that's, you know, that a lot of things mess with that. Let's see, homelessness, internet crime, vigilante mobs, really? Huh. Yeah, racial tension is contributing to that. So, yeah, that's that's the kind of mobs we don't want. Well, we don't want any mobs, but those are especially bad. Antisocial behavior, alcoholism, alcohol abuse, drug usage, I'm assuming. Yeah, drug addiction. And asthma epidemic. Oh, that's no fun. As someone who suffers from asthma, you know, I'm not a big fan of that. And then green are things that you're doing really well at. So the U.S. technological advantage, yes, you know, whatever. So what you're going to do on a turn is you'll pick something that you want to work on. So say, okay, since I've played this game a few times, I kind of have an idea how some things work. Other things, like, I've tried focusing on homelessness and bringing that down, and there's so many things that contribute to that it's really difficult to do. So I'll just start with something that I kind of know how to fix, sort of. Fix in quotations there. We'll start with alcohol abuse. So you'll look at something like this and go, okay, how can I fix this? Okay, so look at poverty is contributing to it, alcohol consumption, and the speed of the lines represents how much it's contributing to. So alcohol consumption is contributing a lot, obviously. Unemployment is contributing some. Alcohol abuse itself is contributing to crime. And then police force is cutting down on it. And alcohol abuse is having a negative effect on health. So since alcohol consumption is the main thing that's contributing to it, you know, there are a couple things you could do. You could change alcohol laws. So when you click on one of these, like, you pretty much all of these have sliders of some sort. So, you know, in the U.S. right now, minimum age 21. You know, you could crank this up to really super strong restrictions. You could crank it all the way down to no limits whatsoever, and it'll show you here in the middle. You've got all these bars that represent. So this one has liberal, alcohol consumption, violent crime, youth. So these are a few things that this specifically affects, and depending on which way you go, you can see how it has an effect on it. And then down here, this represents, so this number right here is your political capital. This is what you're going to use to spend in order to change laws or implement laws or things like that. So these numbers here are what it would cost you to change this. So if I wanted to raise it, it's going to cost me 13 of my 26. And if I want to lower it, it'll cost me 9 of my 26. So if we look at, I mean, I really don't like, I'm not going to raise that. In fact, I'd prefer it to be at 18, but I'm not going to mess with that either at the moment since I'm trying to cut back on alcohol consumption, and that will just, contribute more, obviously. So I'm going to hit revert changes. I'm going to take a different approach. So other things you can do, is this the one? Yeah. So you can go to policy ideas, and this is a bunch of different stuff that you can implement that is brand new, isn't represented by one of those bubbles currently on the board. So basically this adds a new bubble. So, you have different things, foreign policy, welfare, economy, and any of the ones in red mean they're too expensive for me to change right now. So like ban Sunday shopping would cost me 36 political capital, and I currently have 26. And I guess real quick before I move on with this, I should explain how you get political capital. So basically you have your cabinet members. Each of these people contributes a number of political capital to you a turn. And this basically fluctuates based on how, so if you click on any of these people, it'll show you some sympathies they have. So she's sympathetic to patriots and capitalists. So if you do things to help those parties, that'll make her more loyal, and it'll increase the number of political capital she will contribute to you. On the flip side, if you do something to hurt these groups, she might lower political capital. So like for instance, hers is currently at a 2.4, I'm guessing. Yeah, socialists and liberals, those were based on our numbers out here. Liberal is already kind of low, socialist is kind of middle of the pack. So those will fluctuate every turn. I found that usually mid 20s seems to be about where I hover, because I can't, it's almost impossible to get all cabinet members that agree with what you're doing. And so you'll have a few that are on the low end, you'll have a few that are on the really high end. You can, if it gets really extreme, like if somebody gets down to a 1.0, you can fire them or they'll quit, and then you can hire. So you can look at show potential new ministers, and you can hire someone new that maybe agrees better with your stuff. However, if you fire them, so you can't just go, oh hey, I want to fire all these people and hire all ones that agree with me. When you start firing them, you're one thing, it costs political capital, so you're not going to be able to fire everybody in one go anyway. Two, the loyalty drops a lot because everybody has no idea if you're going to fire them or not. So you need to kind of keep them happy the same way you're going to be trying to keep all your constituents happy. So anyway, to go back to policy ideas, something to cut back on alcoholism. So there's nothing really under welfare that would specifically fit that. Economy, nothing in economy. Tax. So alcohol tax is out of my reach right now. So that was one idea I had, because if you start taxing it, obviously that's going to cut back on it. However, that's going to have other effects on other things. It is nice though, because it does start bringing in income, and that is one thing with this game. I was talking about where I thought I fit on the political scale, kind of, a little bit right of middle. My personal politics is more of a lots of personal freedoms, but don't expect the government to pay for it for you. So, I would prefer to lower taxes. However, this game, in order to really make things go, it's definitely geared towards taxing more things so you can pay for more things and make more people happy. And the U.S.'s budget. We've got our budget numbers up here in the corner. We've got an income, expenditure. So here's the actual what we're spending. Right now we have a $48 billion surplus, which, just in raw numbers you go, oh my god, 48 million, but no, it's really not that much. You will spend that in no time. And then we've got our debt, and I'd really like to start cutting into the debt, but that's a hard thing to do. So we can't add tax to go after this, and I'm not willing to raise the law. So let's see, what else can we go after? So, then you can start doing things like increasing the effectiveness of the police force. So yeah, some of these sliders, so like the alcohol one, it has specific spots that it goes to that represent the different levels you can have it at. Other ones, like police force, it doesn't have, it's much more fluid. It does have different tiers, so like over here you can see medium, and then crank it up a little bit, it says high, and maximum, things like that. So, I could raise this some, which will cut back. Let's see what all the different things. No, don't spend. Okay, so all the things police force. So they cut into alcohol abuse, cut into antisocial behavior, into vigilante mobs, into drug addiction, into crime, into violent crime. So, they cut into a lot of things, unemployment, all these things that we already have, red circles on, indicating their problems. So, at this point, it would cost me 4 political capital to raise this. It is going to cost me, so right now it costs 29 billion. Let's see, and this is per quarter, so each turn is a quarter. So, in a president, a U.S. president, you're only ever going to have 16 turns unless you get reelected. So that is one interesting thing. Like, if you play England either, I don't remember, doesn't have term limits or has longer term limits, whatever it is. So, you can keep playing theoretically indefinitely. So for the U.S., you can only ever play a maximum of 32 turns, and then you're done. So I can raise that quite a bit. That's going to cut into a lot of stuff. What does that increase? Conservatives are happy. See, and that's another thing, is I don't really like the idea of a police state. So let's go back out here. Nope, don't spend. Let's go back out here. What else can we do to change? Antisocial behavior. Everything leads back to alcohol consumption. And look, so this is one of the funny things. So GDP contributes to alcohol consumption. So, we make lots of money, therefore we buy booze. Why not? What is this? Legal drug consumption. So this should be this is a 0 currently, because the U.S., well, some states do, but the U.S. as a whole does not currently have legalized drugs. So we could do that. Wow. Legalize all drugs. Yeah, I'm not going that far. Legalize cannabis. Well, actually, I can't currently afford this, so we're not going to do any of that. Okay. You know what? Screw it. And this is one thing with this game. I've played it a lot now, and you just kind of, no matter how much research you do, you can increase something or lower something, and it's always going to have some kind of effect that you're not anticipating. That then, becomes another problem that you have to deal with later. So, so what's this? This is about 29 million currently. So I can max that out, and it's not even going to cost me another 20 million. It only cost me 4 political capital, so sure, let's go for that.